Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, listen to me closely. This is not an accident. You didn't stumble here by chance. You didn't click that link randomly. You didn't hear this by coincidence. No, this is divine timing. This is your moment. God is sending you this message today, not by accident. Open it now. You've been praying, haven't you? You've been asking for a sign, for a shift, for something to break through. You've been saying, God, show me the way, open a door, give me a word. Well, here it is. You've been standing at the edge of your breakthrough, staring down the mountain, wondering if you have what it takes. Let me tell you something. Truth, you already have it. God put greatness in you from the beginning. Before you were formed in your mother's womb, he gave you gifts, talents, strength, and purpose, but it's on you to activate it. God doesn't bless hesitation, he blesses motion. You've been asking for the blueprint, but God is asking you to move in faith. You don't need to see the whole staircase to take the first step. Sometimes obedience opens the door that information can't. Some of you are waiting for perfect timing, but let me ask you, what if now is the perfect time? This moment is divine timing, not coincidence. Too often we go through life thinking events happen randomly, that situations arise out of luck or misfortune. But when you begin to live with awareness, when you tune in to spiritual alignment, you start to understand that there are no coincidences in the life of someone walking in purpose. Every moment has meaning. Every encounter carries potential. And today, this message, this moment, this call is part of something bigger. You didn't just stumble into this. You didn't just happen to hear this at the right time. It was orchestrated. Divine appointments don't come with notifications. They don't always feel spiritual or dramatic. Sometimes they come in the form of a quiet word, a chance encounter, or a simple message you almost ignored, but the weight of it sits in your spirit. It resonates deeper than your ears. That's how you know. It's not just content, it's calling. What you're hearing right now is a whisper from heaven that cuts through the noise of your everyday. It's a tap on the shoulder from the one who made you, reminding you that you were born for more, reminding you that the frustration you've been feeling isn't failure, it's friction. The reason you've been uncomfortable is because you've outgrown your old season. God's not punishing you, and this moment right now is one of those turning points that won't feel like one until you look back and realize everything shifted here. You see, divine timing doesn't always look divine. It looks like the right word at the right moment. It looks like clarity in the middle of confusion. It looks like an answer to a question you barely knew how to ask. You thought you were just going through another ordinary day, but God saw this day before you were born. He marked it. He set it aside as a checkpoint in your journey. A moment where your eyes would open a little wider, your heart would beat a little faster, and your spirit would say, this is it, this is for me. You might be in a hard place right now. Maybe you're tired, maybe life feels heavy, unclear, or even hopeless. But divine timing has a way of showing up just when you're about to give up, just when you're about to settle for less, just when you're ready to shrink back. That's when the message arrives. That's when the word cracks open. That's when the word cuts through and says, no, not yet. Don't stop now. And you feel it, don't you? That pull inside that tells you this isn't just another voice, another post, another speech. This is targeted. This is for you. That awareness you're feeling isn't hype. It's the Spirit confirming that your steps are being ordered. You may not have seen the path clearly before, but something inside you is waking up. Something is shifting. You don't need to know every detail right now. You just need to trust that you're being led. In a moment of growth, we have to be the word we take. The strings are connected. That's how life works. This is the beauty of divine timing. It's not interested in how long it's taken you or how many mistakes you've made. Divine timing is about alignment. You being in the right posture with the right perspective, open enough to receive what was already yours. That's what this moment is. It's not accidental. It's not premature. It's not too late. It's divine. You already have what you need inside you. That's a truth many people hear, but few truly believe. The world constantly tells you that you're missing something, that you need more experience, more education, more connections, more money, more time. And while growth is always a part of the process, what's already in you is not lacking. You were created with purpose in mind. You weren't sent into this world empty-handed. Every gift, every talent, every instinct, every spark of vision you carry is not random, it's intentional. It's planted in you like seed waiting to be activated. From the time you were born, you were designed for impact. And everything that's happened in your life, the good, the bad, the confusing, the painful, it's all been shaping what's already inside of you. You've been walking around thinking you're not ready, thinking you need a sign or someone's permission, but the truth is, readiness isn't about how much you have. It's about what you're willing to use. There's a difference between being unprepared and being unwilling. Most of the time, people aren't lacking resources, they're lacking belief. Belief in what God already gave them. Belief in the treasure buried beneath the fear, the insecurity, the overthinking. The truth is, the world doesn't need another perfect person. It needs someone authentic. Someone who's willing to step out with what they've got, even if it's not polished, even if it's messy, even if it's risky. Because when you begin to use what's already in you, it multiplies. The gift gets stronger, the vision gets clearer, the opportunities begin to align, not because you suddenly became more gifted, but because you finally started walking like you were. The people you admire, the leaders you look up to, they didn't wait until they felt 100% ready. They moved, and in moving, they became. What's in you is not small, it's not weak, it's not random, it's a divine deposit. It's evidence that you were sent here on assignment. Think about that. God doesn't send people into the world without equipping them for the mission. You're not the exception. You're not the one he forgot. The very things you think disqualify you, your past, your pain, your personality, those are often the exact things that shape your power. Your story is part of your strategy. Your journey is what gives your voice weight. Your scars become proof that healing is possible. The reason you feel the tension inside you, that pull towards something more, is because there's untapped potential that's been sitting dormant too long. It's not that it's not there. It's that you haven't fully trusted it. You've doubted your own ability. You've minimized what's been placed in your hands. But when you begin to see yourself the way God sees you, you stop asking for permission to be powerful. You stop shrinking in rooms you were born to stand tall in. You stop apologizing for being different because you understand that difference is your design, not your defect. There's something unique about you that no one else carries. A combination of insight, passion, perspective, and drive that the world has never seen before and will never see again. You were never meant to copy anyone else. You were meant to cultivate you, and all the comparison, all the delay, all the questioning, it ends when you recognize that you've had it the whole time. The voice, the gift, the resilience, the mind, the faith. You don't need to become someone else to be great. You need to become fully yourself. And that journey doesn't begin when everything is perfect. It begins when you say yes to what's already there. Faith requires movement, not just intention. It's easy to talk about faith, to declare big dreams, to write down goals, and to speak affirmations out loud, but none of that carries weight until it's backed by action. Real faith isn't passive. It doesn't sit around waiting for perfect conditions. Real faith steps out even when it's uncertain, even when it's uncomfortable, even when there's no visible guarantee of success. You can believe in the promise, but until you're willing to move toward it, that belief is just theory. It's motion that activates miracles. It's obedience that unlocks the next level. People often confuse waiting with preparation, but at some point, the preparation becomes procrastination. At some point, you're no longer gathering tools, you're hiding behind them. Faith is not just about what you believe, it's about what you do with what you believe. When you trust that God is with you, you stop needing to see the full picture before you move. You start walking by vision, not sight. You take steps when the path looks unclear because you understand that progress often looks like risk in the beginning. You don't need to feel brave to move in faith. Courage isn't the absence of fear, it's the decision to move in spite of it. Many people are waiting for the fear to go away before they act. But fear is not the enemy, inaction is. The longer you wait to move, the louder your doubts become. The longer you delay, the more you give power to hesitation. But when you act, when you step forward, something shifts in you. The fear may still be there, but it no longer controls you. Movement silences fear. Motion builds momentum. There are doors that will never open until you knock. There are resources that won't show up until you start building. There are connections you'll never make until you move in the direction of your assignment. Some of the answers you're waiting for are waiting on you. They're waiting on your willingness to trust without full clarity, to begin even when the end isn't obvious. When you choose to move in faith, you show heaven you're serious. You demonstrate that you're not just a dreamer, you're a doer. And that's when divine favor starts to align with your steps. Too many people spend years hoping, praying, journaling, vision boarding, but they never take the leap. They're waiting for confidence, waiting for peace, waiting for the right sign. But the truth is, peace often comes after obedience. Confidence often shows up after the first step. The longer you wait to feel ready, the longer you delay your destiny. Faith isn't about waiting to feel comfortable. Adventures is about trusting that if God called you, he'll sustain you. He doesn't need you to be perfect. He needs you to be willing. Willing to move even when you feel small. Willing to show up even when you feel underqualified. Willing to trust that each step will lead to the next. You think about the people who changed history, the ones who made impact, the ones whose stories inspire you. None of them had all the answers. What they had was a willingness to begin. They started with what they had, where they were, and they let the journey shape them. They moved in faith, not because they were fearless, but because they understood that staying still was a greater risk than stepping forward. Action is what turns belief into breakthrough. And even the smallest act of obedience can set miracles in motion. Faith that stays in your mind doesn't change your life. It's faith with feet that transforms everything. Delay is preparation, not rejection. When things don't happen on your timeline, it's easy to assume you've been overlooked or denied. You start to question if you heard God wrong, if your dream is valid, or if you're even worthy of the thing you've been believing for. But delay is not a sign that the promise is void. It's often the very evidence that something deeper is happening beneath the surface. It's in the waiting that your foundation is being strengthened. It's in the delay that your character is being refined. Because what's coming isn't small, and you need to be ready to hold it when it arrives. There's a reason farmers don't dig up the soil after they plant the seed. They know growth is happening, even if it's invisible for a while. The same applies to your journey. Just because you can't see movement doesn't mean there isn't momentum. You may not see the full picture yet, but that doesn't mean progress isn't taking place. Some of the greatest growth happens in the dark, away from the spotlight, in the quiet moments when no one else is watching. That's where endurance is built. That's where vision is sharpened. That's where your future is prepared. You may feel like you're stuck, like doors keep closing, like the opportunity is always just out of reach. But every delay has a purpose. Sometimes the door is closed because what's behind it isn't ready for you. Other times you're not ready for what's behind it. Timing isn't just about opportunity, it's about maturity. And maturity is only developed through pressure, patience, and time. You may have the dream, but if your discipline isn't developed, the dream can crush you instead of elevate you. That's why delay is never wasted. It's an essential part of the process. When a builder lays a foundation, the time it takes might seem slow and uneventful, but they know the structure that's coming needs something strong to stand on. If you rush the foundation, the whole thing can collapse later. The same is true with your purpose. You're not being delayed because you're forgotten. You're being prepared to carry the weight of what you've asked for. God is strengthening your capacity. He's deepening your roots so that when the blessing arrives, you're not just excited, you're equipped. It's easy to be frustrated in the delay. It's tempting to compare your pace to others, to look at people who seem to be moving faster, rising quicker, achieving more. But comparison will rob you of the value of your process. What you don't see are their internal battles, their unseen struggles, or the lessons they missed by moving too fast. You are not behind. You're on a different schedule because you're being built for something specific. And specific assignments require specific shaping. In the delay, you learn things success can't teach you. You learn how to stay faithful when no one is clapping. You learn how to show up when the results don't look impressive. You learn how to trust God's plan even when yours feels like it's falling apart. And most importantly, you learn that your identity is not defined by your pace or your position. It's rooted in purpose. It's grounded in promise. And that promise doesn't expire just because it's taking longer than you thought. Delay stretches your patience, yes, but it also sharpens your clarity. What you want at the beginning of your journey may not be what you're truly called to, and only time can reveal that. Some of the things you thought were detours were actually divine redirections. Some of the people who left weren't part of the next chapter. Some of the no's were protection dressed as disappointment. That's what the delay is about. It's not punishment, it's preparation for something bigger than what you even asked for. Let go of fear, shame, and small thinking. These are the three chains that keep most people from ever stepping into the fullness of who they're called to be. Fear tells you that you're not ready, that you'll fail, that people will judge you, and that your dream is too risky. Shame whispers that you're not worthy, that your past disqualifies you, and that if people knew the real you, they'd walk away. Small thinking convinces you to settle, to stay comfortable, to aim low, and to play it safe. Together, they form a prison that looks like protection, but functions as limitation. Fear is a liar, but it speaks just enough truth to feel believable. It magnifies risk and minimizes potential. It keeps you rehearsing everything that could go wrong instead of focusing on what could go right. Fear will dress up as wisdom to keep you stagnant. It'll sound like, just wait a little longer, or you're not qualified yet, or what if it doesn't work out? But real wisdom is not about hesitation. It's about discernment and action rooted in trust. Faith is not the absence of fear. It's choosing to move even while fear is still talking. The only way to silence fear is to act in defiance of it. Every time you step forward in faith, you starve fear of its power. Shame, on the other hand, is deeper. It doesn't just attack your decisions, it attacks your identity. It tries to convince you that your failures define you, that because you've messed up, you can't rise up. But shame is a false sentence to a life of smallness. Your past is not your prison unless you agree with it. Everyone has made mistakes. Everyone has fallen. What sets the free apart from the stuck is that they stopped agreeing with shame. They stopped rehearsing their regrets and started walking in redemption. What you've been through doesn't make you less valuable. It makes you more relatable, more human, more equipped to lead and uplift others who are still trapped in what you've already overcome. Small thinking is the silent killer of destiny. It sounds humble, but it's really just fear in disguise. It tells you to lower your expectations so you won't be disappointed. It tells you not to try too hard, not to believe too big, not to want too much, but you were never created to think small. You were created in the image of a limitless God. Playing small doesn't serve the world. Hiding your light doesn't help anyone. Shrinking your dreams doesn't make you humble. It makes you ineffective. You can't transform anything by staying silent, invisible, or afraid. You are born to stand out, to lead, to innovate, to shift atmospheres and break generational patterns. Letting go of these chains means confronting the beliefs that have kept you bound. It means recognizing the lies you've accepted as truth. It means looking in the mirror and choosing to believe that who you are is enough, that what you carry matters, and that where you're going is greater than what you've come through. This kind of freedom doesn't come by accident. It comes by decision. The decision to no longer tolerate thoughts that belittle you. The decision to stop making agreements with limitation. The decision to stop waiting for permission to be powerful. You can't carry fear and faith at the same time. You can't hold on to shame and walk in purpose. You can't think small and expect big things to manifest. At some point, you have to decide which voice you'll listen to. Will it be the voice of your past, your doubts, your pain, or will it be the voice of truth, purpose, and vision? The life you're meant to live requires boldness. It requires freedom. And that freedom starts when you release what no longer serves the calling on your life. Your purpose is calling. Answer now. There is a pull inside of you that refuses to be silenced. It shows up in the quiet moments when no one is around. It stirs when you see someone else doing what you know you're capable of. It's that fire that keeps coming back no matter how many times you try to ignore it or delay it. That's purpose. It's not a random thought. It's not wishful thinking. It's a divine assignment embedded in your design, and it's not going to leave you alone until you answer it. Purpose doesn't ask for convenience. It doesn't wait for the perfect time or for every detail to be figured out. It simply calls. And when it calls, it doesn't explain itself. It doesn't come with a manual. It doesn't beg. It doesn't shout. It speaks with authority, with clarity, and with urgency. The reason you feel restless in certain environments, the reason you can't quite settle where others are comfortable is because you were never made to fit into norm. You were made to shift things, to build, to lead, to impact. You're not here by accident. You are an answer to a problem, a solution waiting to be unleashed, and time is not waiting for you to get around to believing that. You've been sensing that it's time, that you can't keep putting off what's inside you, that you've done enough observing, enough planning, enough waiting. That voice within you is purpose speaking up. You're not behind, you're not too late, but the window is open now. And every moment you hesitate is a moment where someone else waits on what only you can bring. There are lives tied to your obedience. There are breakthroughs on the other side of your courage. There are environments waiting to be changed by your presence. But none of that happens until you pick up the call. The danger of delay is that it gets comfortable. You start believing you have time. You start thinking that your purpose can be put on hold while you figure out life. But life is unfolding now. Every day you wake up with breath in your body is a sign that there's still something you're here to do, something you're uniquely built for. Purpose doesn't mean perfect conditions. It means saying yes to the nudge, the burden, the passion that won't leave you alone. It means trusting that what's inside of you is not just for you, it's for the people who need what you carry. This isn't about hype or pressure. It's about alignment. You don't have to force what fits. When you walk in purpose, things begin to align in ways you never imagined. Resources find you. Opportunities appear. People are drawn to your voice, your vision, your leadership, not because you're trying to be someone else, but because you're fully becoming who you were always meant to be. And the longer you wait to answer, the longer you postpone the life that's waiting on the other side of that decision. Your gifts are clues to your purpose. Your passions are not random. The things that break your heart or stir your spirit are indicators of what you're called to shift. Stop waiting for someone to validate what God already confirmed. Stop hoping someone else will step up and do what you know you're supposed to be doing. Purpose doesn't go to the most qualified. It flows through the most willing, and the willingness to answer now sets everything else in motion. You've got what it takes, not because you've figured it all out, but because you've been chosen. That calling you feel deep in your gut isn't going to let up. It's not going to disappear with time. It's going to keep showing up until you stop running, stop doubting, and decide to walk in it fully. Your purpose is not waiting for the future. It's calling in the present.